Welcome to the Sales Pro Podcast with Jonam Ross and Miles Emmanuel.
Yep, welcome to the very first episode. We're super excited to bring you this because the Sales Pro Podcast is here to give you the best tips and cutting edge advice in not only getting the edge in your sales and your business, but also in the rest of your life generally. So each and every episode will bring you those tips. We also, on special occasions, have some very special guests lined up. We have world experts in sales, business strategy, marketing, and influence. So look out for that. So today's episode is about...
What is a true sales pro? What is and isn't a sales pro?
Right. So why is it important? That sounds like a really basic thing to cover, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But why is it important to cover the definition of something like a sales pro?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons many people struggle with sales is that they don't, simply put, they don't put any energy
No.
at all. Like learning sales, yeah, I could do that easily. Yeah, so go knock on one door, get rejected, like, oh no, sales, it's not for me. I've tried it one time.
People act as if it's optional. Or like it's this part of the business that will naturally come together. I remember, a lot of people, myself in the past, I used to think, well, if I get really good at doing my job or providing my service, then the sales, the clients, they'll just turn up naturally. And so you end up with a lot of very highly qualified, highly skilled people, whether it's coaches, PTs, beauticians, any industry basically, who they're really good at what they do, but they're struggling. And it's quite unfair. It all boils down to this area of have they learned how to actually get people through the door and make a sale? And often the answer is no. So why is that?
Well, I mean, because there's a lot of misconceptions about sales anyway. I mean, everyone thinks about, when people think of sales, they just think about the snake oil car salesman, slicked out suits, greasy hair, and just willing to make everything. And salespeople generally are seen as deceitful, malicious, almost like military mercenary in their attack to get the sale.
It's true. Like people, not everyone obviously, but there's the very common misconception is that a salesperson or someone who's good at sales is someone who's manipulative, deceitful. They're willing to say or do anything in order to get the sale, and that's not true. But let's say if that was true, then no wonder people aren't wanting to become good at sales if that's what they think being a good salesperson is. Because I think you agree, like most people are essentially good, compassionate, decent human beings. Yeah. It's a useful assumption to make. I hope it's true. And so, for the most part, people are good, compassionate, moral, all that great stuff. And so if we identify as being, right, I'm a good, kind person, but in order to get good at sales, I'll have to be immoral, amoral, completely mercenary and heartless and change who I am, then of course we're not going to do that. So you have this conflict of interest, which is why it's so important at this early stage to clear out the misconceptions of what people think a sales pro is versus what it actually is.
There's a lot to unpick from what you just said there. Like the whole concept of manipulation, because let's just think about it in this way, because I mean these two subjects are a whole podcast in and of itself. Like manipulation, influence, and also about being suggestible and being gullible as well, because people don't want to feel like they've been duped into a bad sale. That's where buyer's remorse comes into it anyway. Yeah. So I mean, with manipulation versus influence, that's just basic bones. That's all about intent. Yeah. So I mean, you've heard this all the time about, you give someone a knife, one can save a life, one can take a life, one's a criminal, another one's a doctor.
Exactly. It's how you use it. And it all boils down to the word influence, which I really like, because the way I see it is that influence is just exercising power. So in any interaction, and this is in sales, it's just in our daily life, power is in the situation anyway, but a lot of the time it's just kind of free floating. It's going out at random, and so we say things that might upset people. People say things that offend us, or it's all very imbalanced. And yet, good salespeople, good influencers, are the people who they know the rules of the game, and they play by it. And being ethical about it, coming to it with strong values, strong ethics, knowing who you are and what you're about. That then means you can exercise that power in a way where everyone's happy, where everyone wins. as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be a true sales pro, not only is it about doing sales, but it's also enjoying being sold to. Because you need to remember about when you talk about suggestibility, it's like the most capable and the most successful are the most suggestible.
It's true. When you look through history at people, the minds that we all look up to, like Einstein or Nikola Tesla was another example from old history or recent history. All the most successful people tend to be very suggestible. They're very open to suggestions. They're very open to taking on a new idea and not being brainwashed by it. But all it means is being willing to take an idea on and try it and see if it works, and then suspend your disbelief while you try it, and then afterwards decide, right, does this get the results I want? And that's what being suggestible is. It's being open to being directed to learning something new. That's a really desirable state because that is how we learn. That's how you can learn quickly and implement it rapidly. And that's how the most successful people operate. And that's very different to being gullible or taken advantage of.
Absolutely. Because, being taken advantage of, no one wants to feel that at all.
No.
And that actually is an undesirable state due to the fact you have no control. Compared to when someone is suggestible, they're able to take new knowledge, take it if they want it, absorb it, apply it, and if the desired outcome is there, then either remember it or discard it. Whereas being gullible, there's no control. You're at the mercy of the next thing, which a lot of people, not even in sales, just in their day-to-day life, they surrendering themselves, always reacting to life rather than acting on it.
Exactly. And so being a good salesperson, being a good person generally, really, using this power well, it boils down to being able to speak, being able to act in a way where you're helping people to have the best options possible. And so you're giving them good options, you're giving them good opportunities that you can offer with a clear conscience and they can take with peace of mind, knowing that you're operating for everyone's best interests. In fact, the founder of the Sales Pro Academy, Pete Scott, he talks about how the number one trait in the most successful sales people is empathy, which goes hand in hand with decency.
Of course, because everyone wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold to. I mean, I can go, imagine you go into shops, I want to buy a new pair of shoes. Nice little pair. I've got already just imagine it in my mind. The shape of it. What it will feel like, how it will look with all my other outfits, and it'll be fantastic. So I walk into the shop. I'm pretty much browsing around. I've pretty much already made my mind up of what I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
And then in comes the clerk.
Asks you if you really want to buy those stilettos.
I know, and that just really puts me off. So I think I'll go to Topshop or something. And yeah, it really just puts you off because I'm already been sold, and that is, in terms of the clerk, that's a lack of awareness, possibly on their parts.
Yeah.
Of not building up a rapport with me, figuring out what I want rather than...
Exactly. And this is where a lot of the problems that people run into comes from, is that they project, there's a society misconceptions, what we see in TV series or, memories from years ago where someone missold to us, whether it was on TV or whether it was in our own personal experience. We see people doing sales wrong and we think that uncomfortable feeling we have because of them is how we make other people feel by selling. And really, it's just wrong, which is fine, because we all make mistakes all day, every day. That's allowed. But the trick with making mistakes isn't to go, oh, well, I've thought that, now I have to think this for the rest of my life, I'm stuck with it, like a prison sentence. It was just a mistake, And so acknowledging that and realising that you can think something different instead, something that is actually useful to you and to the people who you're going to sell to in the end.
Everything that we do in life, no matter what, everything we do is sales.
Right. Underline that bit if you're taking notes. Everything is sales.
Let's think of the time when your friend told you about that new film at the cinema.
Right.
I know full well they may have said, told you about the characters, what the hair looked like, but in all reality, they did not detail every single thing about the film because that's boring. It was probably went something along the lines of, can't believe I just saw this film, Jonam, it was absolutely to die for. I cannot believe it. Yes way. Like there was a setting there was explosions, there was the main character, to die for. Absolutely to die for.
To die for, wow.
Yeah, it would be something...
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I was compelling. This movie doesn't exist, but I want to see it.
It's exciting. That's the point, Even trying to convince a friend out just to go to a party. You're not saying, the reasons that you should be going to. You'll be saying, come on, it'll be a laugh. That really cute guy's there. One drink. It'll just be one.
Just one. That's all it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like our enthusiasm is compelling. We compel people to do things. That's what influence and persuasion is, really, when you think about it. It's compelling another person to do something that they hadn't previously planned to do. And how often have you done that? Like we said, whether it's going to see a movie, recommending a song or album or concert or an art gallery or anything. Or, say, in a job interview, you're selling yourself there. Hopefully not selling your soul, but you're definitely trying to come across well. And so this act of interaction and, persuading people, it's a part of what we do every day. But also, the first person who we sell to is ourselves. We're persuading ourselves every day. And so we're either persuading ourselves to be successful or we're persuading ourselves to stay stuck. There's the expression that we're either selling excuses or solutions. The difference being that people don't ever pay you to sell excuses.
So, with that said, if I was just to take one thing, or maybe four things...
Four things sounds good.
...from this podcast, what is that?
So I would say the 4 essential traits of a sales pro, and there are many, but just as a first podcast, maybe you're on your way to work or running or on the way to the gym, whatever it is, just 4 things to take away. The first one, I would say that sales pros love sales. They think about it, they study it, they have fun with it because they've got to the point where sales feels sexy. If you can make sales feel sexy for yourself, whereas it's true, it's totally true. It feels fun. It's like, oh wow, what's this thing I can try? If you've got a service that helps people, it's worth delivering, then delivering that to people, sales is part and parcel of that. Finding new ways to meet people with it. Will you try Facebook Lives to get the exposure there, to get the public speaking experience? Will you try Google Ads? Will you be meeting new people? Will you do cold calling? Some people feel fear about that, but if you can feel excited about the opportunity to do something new, to find a new way to broaden your horizons, to broaden the horizons of the people you're helping, that then suddenly is something you look forward to.
Number 2 of the essential traits of a sales pro has to be know what your solution is.
Right.
Know what your solutions are, what you're offering and for who.
Yeah.
If you don't know your products, then how can you even begin to explain it, to even sell it?
Exactly.
You don't want to be, or what you can be, this grandioso master sales pro from the stage, speaking all kinds of grand, mystical, mysterious visions. This product is the best thing since sliced bread. It will change your world. It cures cancer.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Absolutely.
Or you could be from a different angle. You could be what I call the guide from the side. You say, these are the things that it can do, but I'm really more interested in what you're doing in your life.
Yeah, how can it help you?
You. Exactly.
Right. And I think that's where the industry's going. The whole self-development, personal development boom since, I think, really like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Everything was... And it did great work, and I'm not naysaying much. Okay, a little bit. I'm naysaying a little bit. Not because it didn't do good work, but because people, the explosive, enthusiastic, get in a high-pumped state, and then I'm going to sell to you. Or, run to the back of the room once I've made you cry. These techniques, they're getting old. we've all heard them. We've all heard a lot of this stuff again and again and again over the years, and so
your network is your net worth.
Yeah, all this stuff. And it's not saying that these things aren't true. Often, cliches do tend to have a nugget of truth surrounded in a whole ball of something else,
which we will not mention.
Yeah, this is a PG show,
of course.
And so it's the industry and the audience ourselves is growing wise to the sales tactics that are trying to manipulate us emotionally and looking to make a sale rather than serve the client. And so for you as a sales pro or a soon to be sales pro, knowing the solution you're offering and how it solves the problems of your clients, how it helps them to achieve their desires, that is far more important than any fancy tricks or linguistic processes that we can give you to hypnotize your audience into a buying state. Because I think nowadays, and especially it's going to grow more and more like this, is my personal prediction, that people want to be cared about. They want to feel that you're going to serve their best interests. And so, we're not looking for new messiah figures, not looking for these great inspirational public speakers. They're awesome, they have their place. But as salespeople and as people who are buying from salespeople, I think to feel seen and heard and cared about, and like this person's really going to look out for your best interest, that is the kind of feeling that you want to inspire in your audience. So yeah, I agree with Miles on point number 2.
And that's fantastic segue to third essential trait of a sales pro.
Yes.
I need to trust you.
Right.
In order to buy from you.
Exactly.
Because if there's no trust, that's the pinnacle, the building block of any relationship in your life, any relationship at all. If there's no trust, then the relationship will not work. You're building your house on, quicksand.
Yeah.
It's not on bedrock. It's not on firm grass.
Firm grass? Firm ground.
Firm ground. Yeah.
Ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it right the first time. It's fine.
I think so. I think I made a point.
It's true. Yeah, being trustworthy, being able to trust the person selling to you, and so as a sales pro, being trustworthy is so important. Being willing to trust as well, because one of the interesting things we'll talk more about rapport at a later date, I'm sure. But rapport is basically when you begin to connect with another person, and it gets to the point if you're in a relationship or you have a best friend who you spend a lot of time with. It's you know how it is. You can kind of communicate without words. You almost think what they're thinking at the same time. That's
finishing others' sentences.
Yeah, well, could have done that so much better.
I know.
Do you want to do that?
No.
Cool. Edit that last bit.
No, let's keep that in.
Yeah, that is what, in a nutshell, rapport is. And rapport is a two-way street. So if you're feeling shady, if you're feeling like you're being disingenuous or like you're being manipulative or like you can't trust people because the world's out to get you, if you're holding those kinds of feelings inside yourself, that two-way street of rapport, you're going to start ringing those strings, if you like, in the other person. And they're going to start feeling that while you're talking to them. So you have to be able to be trustworthy and you have to be able to trust as well. And Miles had a very good question earlier.
Yeah, it's all when it goes about, obviously trusting the person, but also trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't trust yourself to sell the products, then what's the point? So that's why a question I'd like you to ask yourselves. Would you buy from you?
That's a good question.
If you were selling your products, would you buy from you?
Bears thinking about. Would you buy the products that you are selling or the service that you're offering? Would you buy from a person like yourself? If you met yourself on the street or wherever it might be, what would your impression be? Would you trust that person? Would you be pleased to be speaking to them? Or would you want more of him in your life? Or would you be distrustful of them? And that's a really good acid test. So that's one to take with you. So, point 1, sales pros love sales. They think about it, they study it, they have fun with it, they make sales sexy. Point 2, they know what solutions they're offering and who they're offering it for. If you don't know what it is, you can't have confidence in it. So the more clarity you can have on the problems you solve and who you solve them for, that's the more confidence you can have. The third point is being trustworthy and trustworthy, being the kind of person who you would trust. And so the fourth essential trait of a sales pro,
has to be action. You have to be an action taker.
Right.
There's a great phrase by a famous philosopher when you talk about education and acquiring knowledge. It doesn't matter how many books you read, it doesn't matter how educated, how many diplomas, how many degrees you get. If there is no action to it, you're literally a walking library. You've got all these skills, all these great sales techniques, even sales traits. If you do not apply it and put action towards it, you are a walking library. Some people will maybe even enjoy that. They get a free library pass for you. That's great, but you're not profiting from it. You're stationary.
Exactly. No pun intended.
Of course.
No, it's true. People, and have you ever had this where, you gather knowledge and you think, this is really good knowledge, and I'll talk about this knowledge, and you share it and the latest tip, and, you're talking about it. And that feels like you're doing something, be honest. I think we've all done it.
Yeah.
You learn something, I really should apply this. So I'm going to talk to my friends about it. I'm going to do an inspirational Facebook quote and, speak about this thing. And that feels like taking action. But that's not taking action. Picking up the phone, making 100 phone calls is taking action, or going down the street, walking into town, into businesses. That's taking action. Something that's actually putting you in a sales situation is what's going to get the results. But just accumulating knowledge, it's not that it's worthless, but knowledge is only worth as much as it's applied.
Absolutely.
So,
the 4 essential traits of a sales pro. Love sales, make it sexy. It's going to be amazing. Number 2, know what the solution is, what you're offering, and for whom. Number 3, you have to be trustworthy, trusting yourself as well as trusting the customer. And maybe even ask yourself, would you buy your products from you? And number 4, it has to be action. Please take action. Do it now.
And as an additional bonus to point 4, let's say point 4.2 or something, point 4b is accountability. As you take action, it's really good to have people to keep you accountable. Whether you've gone to the gym before, it's so much easier to go with a partner than it is to go alone.
Absolutely.
And so if you can have a supportive group of people around you, whether it's one person, a mentor, whether it's an actual community, that will really help you. And have people who will actually keep you accountable, people who will pull you up with them as they're striving towards the same goals as you. So, with that in mind, we've created a Facebook community called the Sales Pro Community. And what this is, it's a snazzy name. It's a snazzy group as well. It's really grown. It's really picking up a good buzz because it's filled with such energetic, ambitious people who are go-getters and at so many different levels. What's great about that group is that it's got entrepreneurs and business people at the very beginning of their journeys who are just starting out and just figuring out the ropes, people who maybe they're still in a job but they want to start up their own business, all the way up to world experts in their various fields, people who have been entrepreneurs for 17, 20, 30 years and are making it, are continuing to make it. I've learned so many lessons along the way. And also the founder of the Sales Pro Academy, he's active in there quite regularly as well, which is a great resource. And so what we would encourage you, if you've enjoyed this podcast, is to check out the links in the description, because there's a link to the Facebook group, and join the community. And we would love to hear if you could comment or send us an email or something to share your questions, your feedback, but also the points that you want to apply, the things you're going to do, the actions that you're going to take in the next week or in the next day or so to become a better sales pro. Because when you share that in the group, when it's out there, we will keep you accountable. We will interact with you. The community will interact with you and support you and really help you to power up through this journey that you're on. Because the better a sales pro you are, the better you are at selling to yourself, to your audience, really the more freedom you can have throughout the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And the best thing about sales, of course, is that you just keep on learning. There's unlimited amount of resources right here with just a great community. Because the fact of the matter is that you can also share those experiences, share those ideas, and also be inspired and motivated by like-minded people, just like the people in this group. And I know when you go to this group, it will be a fantastic opportunity to really achieve what you need to do, that life that you have always told yourself that you deserve. And you do.
Because birds of a feather flock together. So this is a free Facebook group, by the way, as well. And so joining that really is a no-brainer. We would love to see you there. We'd love to hear your goals. We'd love to support you in achieving them as well. So this has been the first ever episode, the pilot episode of the Sales Pro podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Jonam Ross.
And I have been Miles Emmanuel. Please do remember to leave us your feedback now on iTunes, Stitcher or YouTube. You can download us anywhere on those platforms and leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Speak soon.